Good morning. It is 15th, I think, of October today. Last night, the weather was predicted to go down to about 1 degrees. I think it probably got down to maybe a couple of degrees above that, 2 or 3. There was a frost on the flat roof over there, but none of the plants seem to be touched by frost. So, and there's another cold night tonight. Looks like it's going to be maybe a degree or 2 warmer, so nothing's going to be protected again tonight. But then we'll start keeping an eye on the forecast for the next few weeks. Looks to be going back up, so might as well enjoy these gorgeous brugmansia blooms for a little bit longer. This double white, this is the second time it's flowered this season. It's looking fantastic. There's another brugmansia somewhere over the back there that's in flower, and through there you can see the brugmansia over there is also in flower. So there's still plenty of colour at mid-October. The Insettis are all still out. They were out last night. I brought a couple of more tender things, some begonias inside and things, just as a precaution. Now they're in, they'll be staying in. So I've been tidying up all of this area. I took the agaves and the aloes, just because we've had quite a lot of rain recently, stuck them in the greenhouse so they can start drying out, ready for winter. But it's just been really a case of just tidying up the last few days. I haven't done an awful lot in the garden this season at all. I've had a builder friend come over to discuss a project plan for next year, which I will probably do a full video on at some point. But here, as you can see, this brugmansia is also in flower. One of the few jobs I have done is the Sycamensis. I've given that a little chop back, taken some of the leaves that were a little bit too sticky out, and I have pruned the fig tree just so that it's giving a bit more of a canopy rather than a low down. I had a few branches here. You can see this is kind of between waist and chest height, just crossing over the phormium, so it gives the phormium a bit more space, and it's starting to give the canopy, which is what I wanted. And then this fig, that, bless it, I started off training it as almost like a fan. Then I decided no, I'm going to train it as more as an upright, and then it just kind of turned into more of a shrub shape. So I've just given that a bit of a hard prune, and that's going to be a bit of a backdrop. The Giganteus is getting too big. I need to get in, cut back some of the stems for the one, so I know how far back it needs to go, and then in March time, just as it's starting to shoot, I can then dig through with my big long pry bar and try and take back probably about a good 1 to 2 foot, and then probably another 1 to 2 foot off of each side, because it's about 6 or 7 foot wide and probably 6 or 7 foot back to front. It's just getting a little too big. One of these were all cut down, these sickies, in the winter, but they are now, the trunk is about 5 foot, top leaves are probably 10 to 11 foot high now, but I've got 3 pups in there, or a main and 2 pups, so I'm going to take 2 of them off next spring if they both get through and start to shoot. And I'm thinking they're probably going to go over where this gravel area is here. This is actually just gravel on top of soil. The only thing I have to be aware of is we've got our oil pipe that runs from our tanker behind all of this into the garage, which is why there's the bit of wood and the block paving there. But I want to get something in there so that it's kind of giving me a tropical entrance as we come in through the gate straight away. We'll go through. This area is actually really done really well. This is definitely going to have to be taken back / out next year. I've got another project in mind here, but we'll see. The other one is quite big and costly, so can't do everything, unfortunately. The runner beans have all finished, and just going to pull them out soon. This area, because it's so sheltered, really didn't get any frost, so this will probably be left. There's not too many tender things here. We've got begonia luxurians in the pot there, and a few impatiens, so they'll probably be taken in. but that's about it. This eucalyptus is, I forget the name, it's eucalyptus Wayne something or other. It's a beast. It will grow huge. It was pruned, I forget if it was a year or two ago, and it's getting close to the wires again. So I think this arm is going to have to come off, and then it will probably be pruned somewhere around about there. Take that. I might leave that. That branch will probably come off because otherwise that will become the lead. I need to have it shoot from about there, and then just every few years give it another prune back. The main Musabajju bunch has done very well this year because it was all taken down to ground level again. The Insetti has done very well with the amount of rain we've had this year. It's kind of given me, I suppose, more of an idea of just how much rain and water it will really want, even though it's in the ground. I'm thinking next year they're probably going to be pots for them. Want to try and find a couple of, winter half-price pot deals, and they're going to be on the patio as a display piece. I did not protect the Dixonia last night. It wasn't really forecast to get low enough, so I haven't, and I will probably not tonight either because it's going to be a little bit milder, and then we're looking at milder weather, and then if we get some real cold spells I will try and protect it. Begonia grande or grandis is starting to finish flowering now. This is looking quite nice. This fern, crypt something or other I believe, or I forget what it was, it's actually done quite well considering it was in a pot and I basically just neglected it. You can see how many stems were there. It's put out a few new ones. The slugs seem to not take it, so it's looking pretty good. Then over the back here we've got the Gunnera, which if I go around the other side we can get a slightly better view of. It's done okay this season. Probably doesn't get quite enough light, so I will probably give this quite a bit of protection this winter just to make sure it doesn't get any damage, and then hopefully next year we'll have a mild spring and it won't get knocked back by April or even early May frosts, and it will hopefully romp away. And once it gets up a bit, you can see even this late in the year it does get some light in here, because the idea is hopefully it will basically fill a lot of this space. It is only a Tinctoria, so it's not quite as big as Manicata or the hybrids, so we'll see. The black bamboo has done okay over this side. A lot of it has died back, but there's a lot of new growth. Hopefully next year, now that's got its roots in for a full season, it will take off a bit better. Still no signs, I don't think. I can't see too much of flowering, so we'll see how that goes, I suppose. Still just really weedy everywhere. I haven't done any weeding this year, bar a couple of days near the beginning of the year. The Thalia delbata's kind of picked back up. Looks like I've got another offshoot kind of almost a foot outside the pot, so I do need to get in this winter. If it doesn't freeze over, I'm going to get in and pull all of this, well, I'm going to drain it and get all of this oxygenator out. It was meant to be more of a show pond rather than a overgrown thing. My wife pulled a whole load out but didn't get the roots, so it's just come back with a vengeance. I really need to get in there. What else have we got over here at the moment? I mean, you can just see how we've got a couple of huge euphorbia seedlings over there. Don't even have euphorbia in the garden, it's just the weed ones you get here in the UK. Choice year has done very well considering it got hit back by the later frosts this year. Cannas still out in flower, looking really quite pretty this time of year. Come on, there we go, there we go. Achillea's done quite well, it seems to have settled in quite nicely. This bed is looking a little bit overgrown, mostly because it is a lot of weed. The courgettes are still going. We've had a few decent sized ones, a few that we've neglected and turned into marrows, but we've had a few. A few courgette cakes will be made. And there's the Brugmansia in the centre. Cleome have done really well this year, really enjoyed them. I will definitely be doing them again next year. They're a pain to raise from seedlings, but I think the flowers are well worth it. They're absolutely gorgeous. Next door neighbour's dog. Right, and then I have cleared some of the Tetrapanax forest through here. You can still see there's still a large amount over here. Large amount. I've already taken a load of cuttings. I've got about 4 that have gone through. This eucalyptus is doing okay. Dahlias have done quite well this year, considering I haven't even deadheaded them. That's how little I've done in the garden. Cleared up all of the pots. Slowly getting there with the barbecue. I'm hopefully going to try and find some time before the winter really hits in, just to continue with the brickwork. We're done with all the large blocks, so now it's getting the barbecue actually on with a few spaces, and then using actual ornamental bricks just so I can get the spacings nice and right. The bamboo in the corner's done well. The Fatsia polycarpa, it's done okay this year. Blueberries are a little bit overgrown, and you can see I hastily threw a few things in just because sometimes they say it's 1 degrees and then you'll wake up to a significant frost out in the countryside. So I just put the red star cord lines in, just because obviously last year you can see 1 survived, the other 2 were taken down to ground level. I'll pop in and show you. 1 has got a couple of sorry looking side shoots, and 1 is looking to become a multi-stemmed awesome looking specimen. So hopefully over the next few years, if I can give it a bit of protection over the winter rather than risking it outside, this might actually become quite a nice little looking plant. The cycad has done well. Just bring that in just because it's in a pot and I can, and might as well. Don't worry about protecting it. The phoenix, I don't know what I'm going to do. It needs to come out of the pot next year. Whether I stick it in the ground as a bedding plant effectively, and then hopefully it doesn't ever get too big because it gets killed off by a frost eventually, or whether I just bin it, I don't know. We've still got chilies or peppers on the plants, and a few more bits and pieces, all the aloes and agaves in, and then the Canna Braziliensis seedlings that have done well. I probably need to next year try and give these 2 little truckies some love and attention. There's some seedlings that I done about 4 years ago. After the first year of growing, I put them in those pots, and bless them, they have been in those pots for 3 years. Didn't water them last year, so they were not particularly well looked after, but I'll see if I can kind of resuscitate them and bring them back. And then the bottom end of the garden is still a little bit of a mess, I'll be honest. We've got a lot of brambles coming in through the hedging which I need to take out. I need to do the hedging at some point, but it is what it is. It'll get sorted. The asters have looked fantastic. They've kind of given up and flopped over now. And then this side just needs to be pulled over. This is going to be a big project next year, just to clear it all, get in a load of topsoil and compost. We've had a few things over here. I think I've got some monardo there. There was some sea hollies over there somewhere. There's a rose there. A few bits and pieces. So we'll see. And then down here, the bamboos have done okay again. They seem to have been hit by the stunting in the pots from a few years ago, and just never really quite recovered. This bit down here is done okay, but it's just been taken over by grass really, and I just need to get in and pull the grass out, give it some extra soil just to kind of cover it, and hopefully try and stop some of the weed seedlings coming through. This moose had never really done too much this year, but it's put out a few little leaves hopefully, and if I give it a bit of winter protection just over the the roots, then I don't mind if it gets cut down and regrows. And then the New Zealand privet is getting a little bit weedy with nettles, so we'll see. And then the chicken coop area is looking rather weedy and overgrown. Need to get out here with the strimmer, give it a good clear, and start to build it all. And then the compost heaps. There's a lot of compost there at the moment. I need to really go through it all. But that's going to probably do it for this year, I'll be honest. Couple more weeks we'll be taking all of the real tender, like the Insettia brugmansias, inside, and then after that it will probably be getting on with some of the larger projects like this bottom end and the one that I kind of teased you with about up at the top end. So we'll see how that all goes, and then I might do a midwinter one. I've got a few terrariums inside which I might actually do a couple of videos on. Tropical gardening, but it's not really highly tropical, you know. They need the 15, 16, 17, 18 degrees, 80% humidity, but some of you might find some of it a little bit interesting. So yeah, I might do a little bit on those over the winter, and then next year I've got a few more plans for the channel, so we'll see whether I end up sticking to it. I'm not the greatest, as you guys probably realised. I kind of pick my phone up as and when I think about it. So if I don't get to do another video, have a good winter. Keep an eye on the forecast. You know, we've still got plenty of time to enjoy the garden for a few more weeks, especially if you're in the south of England.